involved right away. She's going to have to be a big part of a comeback for the Spartans of UNCG. And Furman logs the first point as they end up with a 1-0 advantage. Couple of players to point out for their numbers to this point. Looking at potential double-doubles, Bierman really the only person in position to get there for Furman. 12 digs. She's sitting at 5 kills right now, but we're on milestone watch for Bierman, who just handled that from nearly all the way down on the floor. Johnson's response is good, and the Paladins will keep it alive. And Phil will get to that after this point by Johnson. How good was Johnson rising above to make it 2-0 Furman Paladins? But we talk about being on milestone watch for Annie Bierman. Seems to be the case just about every time out, but big time here. She is on the verge of 1,000 kills and 1,000 digs. The last player to do that for Furman was assistant head coach Natalie Braun. Braun did it in 4 seasons. Got to 1,000 and 1,000 in kills and digs. Bierman trying to do it in 3. She's 19 kills away coming into this third set, and she's 7 digs away from 1,000 in both of those categories. That's the Southern Conference Player of the Year that we're keeping an eye on. Santiago, another. She sets it, but the swing right into the net, and the Spartans find themselves down 5-0. Or check that 4-0. And before we get too far into this, Phil, we should say the one thing UNCG can't afford to do, we've seen them play well at times in this match, but they can't afford to dig a hole here early in this set.
No, and they've proven they can come back, but you're already down 2-0. You can't afford to get down early and give Furman even more confidence and let them get to a groove. And you talk about Bierman and what all she's done. I'm impressed. In 16 total attacks, just 1 error. Usually when you're that aggressive and you go that many times, you have 1 or 2 or 3 slip-ups. Only one error in the first 2 sets. So not only is she racking up the numbers, she's incredibly efficient as well.
There's Minch. She's our player to keep an eye on for the Spartans, coming off that double-double in the quarterfinals. Minch, 6 kills so far. She has 3 digs to go along with it. Make it 4 immediately. As on cue, she gets involved. And Bierman on the other side answers. They load it up for Johnson, but Minch is there again. She is all over the place for UNCG. And the point goes to Furman in the end. Finishing up on UNCG, Minch and Moyer are really the 2 to watch, both coming in with 6 kills apiece. Minch with the dig numbers rising to 4. And then Penner, who has 9 digs alongside 16 assists. Another player that you've talked a great deal about, Phil, that we've got to keep an eye on for UNCG in this third set. And here is Julia Westerber with the finish.
She was good through the first 2 sets. As you take a look at Westerber, her 4th kill as she accrued 3 through the first 2 sets. She'll be important today. Here's another stat of interest. How about Furman out-digging UNCG plus 20 in that category, 47-27 through the first 2 sets of action.
We talked about Bierman's 12. You add the 15 in there from DeMar, and that's where the majority of them are coming from. Sikora has 8. She's next in line when it comes to those digs numbers. Contact as rising above was Jamila Johnson. Now she'll be subbed out, but she has helped build a 7-3 advantage for the Paladins. As they now send Socia to the service line. Well, there's Jasmine Jones. Jones will land some of those, and when she does, that will get UNCG going. Spartans fans hoping, as they've made the trip over from Greensboro, that it is not going to be after Furman has built a sizable lead. Paladins trying to do just that. This will help. 9-3 Furman. They have certainly owned the first portion of the third set coming out of the intermission, and timeout is going to be called for as Corey Carlin looks for some type of answers for his third-seeded Spartans.
Well, once again, just great spacing by Furman. They talk about the dig numbers and what they've been able to do, and I think for UNCG, it's just a situation of got to get back into your groove. You got to get back into what you're trying to do. You can't let what Furman is throwing you off. You've got to get back into what your plan is. And it's proven it can be successful. They got down in that second set, but able to work their way back. If you're UNCG here, though, you can't continue to dig yourself a bigger hole, and you've got to start coming back real soon.
Talk about what the Spartans need to do. Their pep band that's been entertaining the fans here. throughout the day today. Been a nice added wrinkle. They sent their band over, certainly providing a little bit of a livelier environment in here for our second semifinal. Of course, the fans doing their part. They have been vocal for each of these teams. It's been impressive all tournament long at how well these fans have traveled to support these volleyball squads.
It has been, and both of these schools support their teams very well. And Alley Gym over at Furman, where the Paladins call home, is always a fun environment. Fleming Gymnasium, where the Spartans play, good place to see a match as well.
Furman first to 10. Their advantage is 7, and this is looking eerily similar, if you're a UNCG fan, to what we saw in set number 2. But trying to change that right now as she provides a major contribution is Alexis Moyer. We've called the name of Moyer a number of times. Moyer out of Elkview, West Virginia, with her 7th kill of the match. And that's to go alongside of a dig, 13 total attacks to her credit. But every time they get something positive, Phil, it seems like Furman answers right back.
Yeah, Paladins bounce back extremely well, and it's just been difficult for the Spartans to get a rhythm and string 3, 4, 5 points together. As Furman, you can get points on them when UNCG attacks well, but Paladins don't give you many gifts as far as errors. We talked about the Paladins, what they did, 76 total attacks, only 11 miscues for Furman.
Breswin up front making a contribution. Then she is subbed out as they will send Romanishin back to service. UNCG making good use of the service by Romanishin. You see her there. The Port Orange, Florida native in her sophomore season. And now the block by Mitch. Attention getting. Point Spartans, and here they come. UNCG within 4.
This is a good comeback here, and able to cut it to 4. And now you're in service, able to string a couple of points together, and maybe the Spartans trying to get a little bit more confident here.
Santiago sets it up. Minch fires away on the back line for Furman. The work being done by Sikora, and then the Paladins will end up increasing their total 12-7. As Wilkes goes back. Of course, we have introduced you a couple of times to Wilkes, who is the first player in Furman history to go over 5,000 assists in her career. And Wilkes really making her presence a little more, making the fans a little more aware of just how good she was when, with 50 assists against the Citadel back in early October on the 2nd, she passed Courtney Leggins. We talked about how one assistant coach was the only person, or the most recent person aside from Bierman, to have that 1,000 mark. It was the other assistant, Courtney Leggins. It was Courtney Stewartson at the time, who she passed for 3rd in Furman history all time with those 50 against the Citadel. Of course, that was the same game in which Michelle Young reached her 300 win threshold as a head coach. Big night that October 2nd for the Furman Paladins. They're trying to make this 22nd day of November a big one as well. Propel themselves back into the championship match for a 2nd straight year. Up 13-8. The Spartans with another answer from Ashley Minch. And Minch seeing the numbers continue to climb. Now with a number of key moments in this 3rd set already.
Yeah, Bierman back on that line by herself, and she's a fantastic digger, maybe the best in the conference, but UNCG's been able to attack that back line on a couple occasions here. They've cut it to 3. That's been a successful spot for the Spartans, be able to attack the back line of that Furman defense.
Minch now with 7 kills following her last. Moyer even with her with 7 to lead the way for the Spartans, who cannot quite rally beyond the Santiago hit. The talented libero, the Southern Conference Libero of the Year, lifted it in the air. Spartans unable to finish, and now right into the net off of the attempt of Penner. And the Paladins up 15-10. Timeout being called for as Furman has stretched the advantage to 5. Coach Corey Carlin, in his 2nd season at UNCG, His 4th season overall as a head coach. An impressive 22-10 mark in the Southern Conference. Just 5 losses in each of his first 2 campaigns. 41 wins overall coming into this tournament. 42 counting yesterday's in his 2 seasons. 2 very good seasons. And think about it. You come in as a head coach. You're Corey Carlin. You find yourself in only your 2nd year, and you're 1 step away from the Southern Conference Championship match.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. I mean, you think about this Southern Conference league, as far as a volleyball conference, and Sanford, everything that they've done. A little bit down this year were the Bulldogs, and Furman, the great history that they have, and Chattanooga being so good this year. And how about UNCG? Corey Carlin, in just his 2nd year, sticking his team right in the middle of that conversation and really elevating themselves in that Southern Conference ladder, and put together a great regular season, and have fought back here in this 3rd set, Jason. Really finding some things that work for him here midway through set number 3.
Well, whether it's this season or not, you get the indication that Corey Carlin is going to rewrite the history books at UNCG when it comes to their volleyball prowess in the Southern Conference. I mean, this is a team that it may not be in this 2015 edition of the tournament that they get to the championship match, but they would be a pretty safe bet that sometime in the near future they're going to be right there, competing for a championship. Still alive to compete for this one right now on semifinal Sunday. But they must have this 3rd set as they trail the Paladins 2 sets to none and trail Furman in this 3rd set 16-11. But look, just the contact on the very back line that ended up giving the point to UNCG. Substitution for the Spartans as they will send Breswin back into that front line. Minch serving. Minch also getting in the middle to rescue things. Nice work for Westerberg. Though in the end, the Paladins win the battle. 17-11.
Those are tough to get out of there when you're trying to bump it near the net. UNCG trying to space well. There's a lot of bodies down there and difficult to get the ball out of the net a lot of times.
Bierman on that back line. Now she attacks from that back line. Santiago allows for who else to load up but Breswin. We talked about them bringing her back in a moment ago. Breswin, who secures her 4th kill of the match. And an important 12th point for UNCG.
That was very nicely set up by the Spartans to put UNCG in a position to kill it. Very nicely done.
Westerberg back there, handling things from the service line, but then it ends up carrying off of Westerberg. As you'll see here, Bierman just fires away. The Southern Conference Player of the Year with force.
And she can do it from anywhere on the floor as well. She can kill effectively near the net or anywhere on the court where she gets a good angle.
That was the 10th kill for Bierman. And you put that alongside of her 15 digs. Another double-double for Bierman in this one tonight.
Just doing her job. Another evening at the office for Annie Bierman.
Bierman, if you're wondering what numbers she needs to reach in order to get to 1,000, as we discussed a little earlier, she would need 34 kills, which is quite a stretch. She's right now sitting at 10 in that category. The dig's a little more doable. She needed to get to a total of 19. She's sitting at 15 in digs right now, so that may happen before this one's done. We'll keep a close eye on it for you. Furman thinking more about trying to get to 25 and putting themselves into tomorrow's championship match against Chattanooga, and UNCG staying those hopes for now as they pull to within 7 at 2013. Loading up again for Breswin, somehow kept alive on that back line for Furman and Socorro. A little too high on the hit from Jones. Furman's point, and they're 4 away now from nailing this thing down in consecutive sets.
If Furman is able to get this win and move on to Monday night, it would be a rematch, one of the rematches, a game in Greenville and Alley Gym where Chattanooga came in undefeated in the league at the time, and the Paladins won in 5 sets in a real thriller. So if Paladins able to hold on, that would give us another chance to see the Mocs and the Paladins.
Well, you would have one of the members of the traditional, at least in the last decade or so, powers in Furman, and a Chattanooga team that is returning to prominence after success in the 80s and 90s, now getting right back They already in the championship match for the first time since 2001 are the Mocs. Question is who they will be facing. Furman, if they can finish off this set, would answer that question right here and right now. UNCG trying to push it forward at least for another set. Santiago somehow keeps it alive. That's why she's the libero of the year. And it's Bierman up top. Bierman with that strong swing. And another kill to add to the total for the SoCon Player of the Year.
They just put her in great positions. And when you've got, according to the numbers, the best setter in Furman history, maybe one of the best in SoCon history in Wilkes, that definitely makes Bierman's life a lot easier.
Match point coming up for the Paladins on October the 9th. We talked about their matchups with Chattanooga. They won a 3-2-2 set victory before losing 3-1 on November the 7th on the road in Chattanooga to a team that did not lose on their home court. It'll be a neutral site tomorrow night. If the Paladins can set up the match, the third meeting between these two teams would determine who wins the Southern Conference Championship. That's the case, and fittingly, it's who else but Bierman who drives it home for the finish. She secures a double-double for the second straight match in the Southern Conference Tournament, and she puts her Furman Paladins into the championship match against Chattanooga tomorrow night.
Solidifying her naming as Southern Conference Player of the Year, Annie Bierman. What a great game for her. What a great performance by the Paladins. As they will have a date with the Mocs tomorrow night as the top two seeds will go at it, Jason.
Sakura quietly with 10 digs and 11 kills. Sakura also with a double-double. Those two Paladins, among others, leading the way. Bierman's final numbers, 12 kills, 15 digs in this one, as her double-double helps put the Paladins in tomorrow night's 6 p.m. championship match with Chattanooga. You can see that on ESPN3. We encourage you to tune in and watch it. In just a moment, we will visit with Furman Paladins head coach Michelle Young, the 16-year head coach of the Paladins, taking her team back to the championship match for a second straight season. We'll have her thoughts before we wrap semifinal Sunday on the other side of the break.
Good night.
Excited to be in year 2 of this project. We've gotten tremendous cooperation from our schools to be able to bring you the best in Southern Conference sports. We thank you for viewing.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Center here in Cullowhee, North Carolina, as Furman advances to Monday night's championship game against Chattanooga. Jason Patterson standing by with a victorious Furman head coach, Michelle Young. Jason, take it away.
Michelle Young and the Furman Paladins heading back to the championship match for a second consecutive year. And Coach, we were just talking on off camera about how this is really unfinished business. It's been in the back of your team's mind all year long.
It has. We made it last year, just came up short. And didn't really perform, the way we would have liked to. So it's been something that's on their mind. And then we just came up short for the regular season as well. So, we're really happy to be back in the championship, but we want to do more with it.
Your team performed very well here this evening. A straight sets victory against a very good UNCG team. What were you most impressed with?
We just really wanted to execute well. We didn't want to depend on one attacker or one area of the net. We really wanted to get our setter in the box, allow her to make some decisions, and I think we had a really nice balanced attack, and we took care of the ball very well. So I'm really happy about that.
16 years into this thing, this is not your first rodeo in Greenville, South Carolina. Compare this team to some of the great ones you've had along the way.
Well, I think this group has really found their personality late. They're starting to have so much fun together, and it's not like a group of all-stars, but they're all really strong players that work together really well. And I just love how they've come together late in the season and really play for each other.
Can't go anywhere without being asked about the SoCon Player of the Year. Bierman knocking on the door of 1,000 digs, knocking on the door of 1,000 kills for her career. It was fitting she had the last point. Talk about what she means to your team.
She's just been a rock star for us this year. She's a workhorse. You could use all kinds of nicknames, but she works really hard. She came in great shape, ready to carry the load, and she's just so durable and does so much for us, and is happy to do it. That's what's awesome. Is she's just a selfless player and is like, whatever I need to do for the team's success, which makes it great. And that's kind of how our whole team is, which makes it fun to